It was wrong. It was sinful, but it doesn't invalidate our Father's will. The men exchanged uncomfortable glances. Premarital intimacy was scandalous, but not unprecedented. Sarah's frank admission made the story believable, a lie that protected the greater deception underneath. "What about your sister?" Breenage asked. "Catherine's situation is entirely proper." Breenage studied her carefully, but had no evidence to disprove her story. "This matter is closed," he declared finally. "The will's conditions have been met." After everyone left, Sarah collapsed in the parlor, her composure finally breaking. Sarah went into labor on November 14th, 1848. The labor lasted 18 hours. At dawn on November 15th, a baby's cry pierced the morning silence. "A girl," the midwife announced. "Small but healthy." Sarah lay exhausted against the pillows, her daughter wrapped in blankets beside her. The baby had dark hair and ambiguous features, useful in a house built on lies. "She's free," Sarah whispered. "That's all that matters." Catherine delivered on December 7th after 12 difficult hours. The umbilical cord wrapped around the baby's neck. The midwife worked with calm efficiency until a weak cry confirmed survival. "Another girl," she said. "She's a fighter." Catherine looked at her daughter, darker than Sarah's child, with features requiring careful explanation.
"I'm calling her Ruth, after our mother. And mine will be Abigail," Sarah said through tears, "after the grandmother we never knew." The names honored women their father had erased. They were the first decisions the twins had made that weren't calculated for advantage, simply mothers naming their daughters. The executors visited on December 20th to verify both births and finalize the estate transfer. Breenage examined the babies clinically, noted their existence, and pronounced the will's conditions fully satisfied. Bell River Plantation is hereby transferred to Sarah Breenage and Catherine Kemper. The estate is officially closed. After he left, Sarah felt nothing. No triumph, no relief, just exhaustion. They'd won, but the cost had been enormous. Marcus entered carrying Abigail. She wants her mother. As Sarah took her daughter, she made a decision. "We're keeping our promise. Your manumission papers will be filed next week. Funds sufficient to reach Philadelphia and establish yourself there." Marcus had been expecting delays. The directness caught him off guard. "Just like that?" "We made an agreement. I'm honoring it." "And the documents I sent north?" Sarah's eyes narrowed.
"I know about those. Pritchett intercepts all correspondence. I know what was in them. Everything about Father's programs, the poisoning, our arrangement. Then why didn't you? Because you were right to document it. Someone needs to tell the truth. Maybe your testimony will reach people who can change things." Catherine appeared with Ruth. "We're not stopping you, but we're asking for 6 months. Stay until June. Help stabilize operations. Then leave with our blessing and enough money to start fresh." It was masterful manipulation, but also honest. 6 months, he agreed. The winter passed in relative peace. Syphilis treatments continued, with several making full recoveries. The twins settled into motherhood while maintaining efficient plantation operations. Marcus spent evenings preparing for departure, but found himself reluctant to leave. He developed attachment to the children he'd fathered.
The testimony had reached the Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society. They were compiling it for a report on Alabama plantations. "Father's legacy will be exposure and condemnation," Sarah said quietly. "Everything he believed will be used as evidence of the system's depravity." "He was a monster," Marcus said. "I know, but he was also my father." They moved Marcus's departure to mid-April. The night before he left, Sarah called him to the study. "I've been thinking about what we did," she said. "We convinced ourselves we were different from Father because we offered you freedom. But we weren't different. We just used more sophisticated coercion." "I know. And yet you stayed the extra months, completed the treatments. You fulfilled your bargain even after you knew I discovered your documentation." Sarah handed him a satchel, heavy with gold coins. "This is more than we agreed. There are also letters of introduction to merchants who won't question a freed slave with proper papers.
Before we continue with the story of the Sutton Sisters and the secrets that consumed an entire community, make sure you're subscribed to Echoes of the Past and hit that notification bell. We uncover the darkest corners of American history that textbooks won't touch.
Why? Because Abigail and Ruth will ask about their father someday. I want to tell them he was a good man who made difficult choices, who documented truth when others wanted it buried. Catherine appeared with both babies. We're saying goodbye properly, as families should. Marcus held his daughters one last time, memorizing their faces. Be good, he whispered. Be better than all of us. Marcus left Bell River on April 18, 1849. He carried his papers and a daguerreotype Sarah had commissioned secretly, him holding both girls on the back. Marcus and his daughters, April 1849. May they all find freedom. He reached Mobile and secured passage north. The ship departed April 23rd. He never returned to Alabama, but his testimony did. The Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society published their report in July 1849, detailing plantation conditions and naming Colonel Nathaniel Sutton specifically. It caused outrage in northern states and fury in southern ones. In August, Harold Breenage began asking questions about how Bell Breenage information had reached Pennsylvania. On September 3rd, he arrived with a sheriff and warrant to search for evidence of abolitionist activity.
Marcus was manumitted, Sarah replied calmly. He left with our blessing. Whatever he did after is his business. He stole property. Your father's journals. My father's journals passed to us. We gave Marcus access as part of his duties. What he did with that access is speculation. The search lasted 3 hours. They found nothing. Catherine had burned everything potentially incriminating weeks earlier. Breenage was forced to leave empty-handed, though his parting words carried threat. This isn't over. Eventually, someone will find the truth. After he left, Catherine said, "We need to disappear." It took 6 weeks. They sold Bell River for immediate cash, manumitted several key people with funds to establish themselves, and sold the remaining population to a Quaker merchant who'd promised transport to free states. Thomas received his property in cash settlement for agreeing never to contest the sale. On October 14, 1849, Sarah and Catherine boarded a ship in Mobile bound for New Orleans, traveling as widows with infant daughters. But before leaving Alabama, they made one final stop. On October 15th, a fire started in the Hunville courthouse basement. The building burned for 6 hours, collapsing before dawn.
3 bodies were found, identified as vagrants seeking shelter, though no one looked carefully at why they'd been chained in the basement. The investigation concluded an overturned lamp caused the accidental fire. Most county records from 1847 to 1849 were destroyed. Anyone trying to trace Bell River's history would find only fragments and gaps. Sarah and Catherine reached Wisconsin in December 1849. They purchased a small farm outside Madison using false identities, presenting themselves as widowed sisters starting over. Their daughters grew up knowing only that their mothers had come from Alabama, had escaped difficult circumstances, and that their father had been a good man who'd made sacrifices. Marcus established himself in Philadelphia as a bookkeeper. He never married, never had other children, never spoke publicly about Alabama, but he continued providing testimony and helped transport escaped slaves until the Civil War began. He kept the daguerreotype hidden, taking it out occasionally to look at his daughters' faces. In 1863, a Union lieutenant discovered a sealed trunk in Bell River's ruins containing journals and breeding logs that confirmed everything in the report and added new horrors.
The documents became part of the case for why slavery needed complete abolition. Colonel Nathaniel Sutton's legacy became exactly what his daughters predicted: exposure, condemnation, evidence of systematic evil. But the full truth about Sarah and Catherine, about Marcus and the children, remained hidden in burned records and carefully constructed lies. The courthouse fire was never solved, the bodies never identified, the documents never recovered, and the truth about the Alabama twin sisters who shared one male slave between them until they both got pregnant remained buried in ash and silence for over a century. Some historians claim the story is fabricated, that no records exist to support the alleged events. Others point to the Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society's report and argue that where there's documentation, there's truth. But perhaps it doesn't matter whether every detail is verifiable. What matters is what the story reveals about the system that made such events not only possible, but almost inevitable. A system built on treating human beings as property, on using violence and deception as tools of control. The Sutton twins, if they existed, were both victims and perpetrators. Marcus, if he lived, was both collaborator and resistance fighter. The children inherited a legacy of trauma and survival, guilt and resilience.
And the rest of us inherit the responsibility to remember, to examine, and to ensure that the conditions that created such horrors never exist again. What do you think of this story? Do you believe everything was revealed, or are there still secrets buried in those burned records? Leave your comment below with your thoughts on what really happened at Bell River Plantation. If you enjoyed this tale and want more dark mysteries from forgotten American history, subscribe to Echoes of the Past. Hit that notification bell and share this video with someone who appreciates the disturbing truths hidden in our past. I have seen complete story type. We are legend, and we will tell stories. The next story might be even more unsettling than this one. Until then, remember that history's darkest chapters are often the ones people tried hardest to erase. Comment, we will remember, and share.